Good afternoon, everyone. I'm coming to you this afternoon to talk about a topic that's been heavily on my mind and my heart for a couple months now. And the reason why is because I have experienced this issue and continually going through the motions of healing. And that topic is moving beyond the pain of having a miscarriage, stillbirth, um, just losing your child during a pregnancy, and how hard it is to overcome and to move beyond the fact of your loss. So, um, currently, this is my 6 month past the loss of my baby. I lost him when I was 4 months pregnant, and the pain was unbearable and still is at times, but through the help of my parents, my husband, friends, and a counselor, I've been pushing and really seeing the big picture of it all. It doesn't subdue my feelings and hurt and pain of losing my baby, but I just want to encourage you all that you can make it through, and that your life has not ended, it's only beginning, and that you will make it through. At 4 months pregnant, 16 weeks, an unexpected issue arose, and I lost my child. Everything checked out well when I went to the doctor, and all of a sudden I lost them due to a rupture, they say, or they thought it was an infection, but turns out I didn't have any of that. I did have a rupture though, and they did see a little small bruising on my placenta, or whatever the case may be. So leading up to that, all my checkups were fine. I went to the doctor regularly because in the beginning, when I did find out, I did have some bleeding and spotting. So after the bleeding spotting, I was recommended to go to the doctor, and at that doctor's appointment, everything checked out fine with the ultrasound. They said my baby was healthy. So moving on, being a month or 6 weeks pregnant, you try to find a physician, OBGYN, nutritionist who's respected, knowledgeable, and just got a good reputation out there for treating the patients with the utmost respect. And I believe that's where my error lied, was when I just randomly selected somebody that I didn't know because I just recently moved to the area. And so my first sit down with the doctor, I just didn't get a good feeling and a good vibe. She kind of like brushed off all of my questions that I was having. You get excited about being pregnant. You're attached automatically and immediately as soon as you find out you're pregnant. So, you have that excitement, and you want the doctor to have that excitement with you. So when she didn't, it kind of like rubbed me the wrong way, but I dismissed it because my husband also advised me. He's like, you guys got different personalities, and so I was just like, okay. So I continually went to her and met with her about 2 to 3 other times, and I just was not getting a great vibe, and my intuition was telling me to go somewhere else because moving on to my 3rd month. I travel for work, so I'm up and down the highway, and my stomach did not feel right. So I was having burning sensation and just uncomfortableness where I think my baby was low, and it was like in my pelvis almost. So I kind of like, I called the doctor to voice my concern, and she shut it down and dismissed me. And that's a number one rule, I think, in my book, is where you you are having issues and you want to consult with your doctor so they can calm your mind and your body and reassure you that everything is okay. But when they dismiss you to where they're not listening to you at all, run. And I should have done that. But, hindsight, I look at it all and I just didn't know. So what I'm basically saying is find a doctor and a doctor's office that has amazing team to work with you when the doctor's not available, to answer your questions when you're in need, and to just educate you on the process of being pregnant. So moving on to my 4th month, I was still having a little pain and back pain, and I realize now that my body was probably telling me something, and it was telling me something. So the week I've lost my baby, I was having a lot of pain, and I realized now, one Saturday, I believe I lost my mucus plug. So I called the doctor, told her what I was going through, told her that I was having back pain, and she didn't get back with me, but the nurse did, and advised me to go to physical therapy. Those two things that really pissed me off. Her not calling me back and then recommended me to go to physical therapy for my back symptoms while I'm pregnant. I should have ran then. So that next Saturday I woke up. I had to go to the bathroom, and during that time my water broke. And I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe it was just me having to go to the bathroom more. And at that time, I was just like, Andrea, get up, go to the doctor. Go to the hospital because your water is breaking. And that's what actually happened. I was treated, and they kept me. And they was basically told me at that time I didn't have any fluid around the baby. So that means that my baby lungs will not develop, and I will be losing them. My baby, I'll be getting rid of, body will be contracting to abort my child. So all those array of emotions at that time, I felt hopeless, in a panic, raged, confused, lost, I questioned God repeatedly, like, why would you do this to me? I'm a good person. I help others. Why would you bless me with a child and then take him away? Not knowing that this was a process that needed to happen. And I'm going to come back to that subject of why it needed to happen. So I left the hospital the day after with no baby. So going into the hospital with the baby and leaving out with nothing, that is the worst pain somebody can ever put on a person. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, nobody, any human being at all, because it's excruciating. My heart literally left my body. Oh God. The days, the hours afterwards was so heartening and hard to face. I did not want to get up. I did not want to see anybody. I pushed my husband away. And in my darkest hours, I just heard the small voice, it would be okay. Then my mom and my sister and my husband, he was affected as well too. It would be okay. You will see yourself smiling again. I did not think that was possible. And but my faith literally allowed me to be optimistic and see myself pushing myself just to wake up or just to live. It was moments I did not want to get out of bed. I didn't get out of bed. I cried many hours. I still cry today. Every day I shed a little tear. but I know my baby's in a better place. And when I delivered my child, he was smiling, and I got to see his features. I got to see his nose, his mouth, his hands. He was intact. And the nurse told me that sometimes that's not, women don't have the opportunity to see that because, of course, it's kind of like traumatic, and I bet you it's a mess. But I was able to hold my child, see him take his last breath, and he smiled. And at that moment, I keep remembering that smile. That's the picture that I hold dear to my heart, and I memorize and think about it daily, because I know at that moment he saw our Heavenly Father, and he was at peace. My baby didn't have to endure any type of hurt, pain. He didn't have to witness that, but all he knew was my love for him, his father love for him. And when he heard my voice, he smiled. So I hold on to that dearly, and I think about it often. And I'm here today because of my support system, and because of the grace of God. The times I didn't want to pray, I did pray. The times I didn't want to talk to God, I did. I just kept pushing myself because I knew that it had to be a reason, and I just kept asking God to reveal the reason to me, and he eventually spoke to me, and he said, your baby saved your life. And I said, my baby saved my life. And he allowed me to remember a certain conversation I had with a nurse during that time, because when I found out I was pregnant, I was supposed to have a procedure that Thursday. And that procedure is called the LEAP, where they remove outer layer of your cervix because I had some abnormal cells. And my abnormal cells was rated at a grade 3. And if it happens to go to a grade 4, that's dire, where it's almost cervical cancer. And so during that time, me being pregnant, I was just thinking, I said, I pray that my cells don't get worse, And I talked to a nurse. I'm like, are you going to watch my cells? Are you going to keep track of the changes? And she was like, yeah, but we don't want to do anything to your cervix at the time. So, I was like, wow. But she did tell me, she said, if you have a natural birth through the birth canal, your baby will fluff away those abnormal cells. And I was like, wow, cool. And secretly I prayed. I was like, well, God, when it's time for me to have my baby, I pray that I have my baby naturally, so I won't have to deal with abnormal cells anymore. And that stuck with me, and that's what he brought to my attention. And I said, what? So you made me have my baby early, and I had my baby naturally. But God sees what's in the future and what's ahead and what the devil is planning. And at that moment, I was thinking to myself, Lord knows what my cells could have been doing. They could have been accelerated to a grade 4. I could have been carrying my baby with cervical cancer. I could have, been diagnosed with cancer while carrying my child. And at the end of my 9 months, I don't know where I would be. Where I would be in remission, have to have treatment for a cancer, lose my child, I don't know. But God saved me and brought my angel into my life so that I can live. So that brings things in perspective, because God has a reason for everything. He sees all, he knows all. We might not understand it right now, but God has an ultimate plan for our life. And for us to go beyond the pain, we have to realize that everything happens for a reason. We are here, and we can and will have more kids. Yes, we lost a child. Now we have to move on and heal and make ourselves whole again, so we can eventually have a child, child in the future, or a baby in the future, babies in the future. God didn't leave us. He's been holding us all the way. And beyond that pain, you have to I respect all of those grieving emotions that I went through during that time, or during the time and now, because it helped me to evolve and heal. Cry, laugh, go to a quiet place so you can have your thoughts, meditate, sleep, find something that gives you joy, but realize that going beyond the pain brings you so much awareness, and it heals you, and it gives you the answers you need. So I say continue to pray, and I love you guys, and I'll be praying for you if you had a miscarriage or anything like that regarding the loss of a child. So I take this time to say thank you for coming to my page. Love you, peace, blessings.